Let's be real, 2026 is unpredictable. The economy shifts, inflation lingers, and jobs aren't guaranteed to be safe. That's why having an emergency fund isn't optional anymore. It's survival. So how do you actually build one and build it fast? I'll walk you through a practical step-by-step plan that anyone can start today. First, start small, but start now. Too many people wait until they have enough money to begin saving, and that delay costs them months, even years. Instead, flip that thinking. If you can save just $5 or 10 a day, you're already creating momentum. That might sound like nothing, but over time, those small daily deposits add up into hundreds, even thousands. The secret isn't the amount, it's the habit. By starting small, you train your brain to make saving automatic, and the habit compounds into real results. Second, cut and redirect. Let's be honest, most people overspend on things they don't even remember buying. Maybe it's the subscription you barely use, the daily takeout meal, or the upgraded plan you don't need. Here's the strategy. Pick 2 or 3 areas, cut them cold, and redirect that exact money straight into your emergency fund. For example, canceling a 20 subscription and skipping 15 meals a week instantly frees up 50 air. That's $200 a month or $2,400 a year without changing your lifestyle dramatically. You don't just cut costs, you reassign them with purpose. Third, automate your savings. This is where most people fail. Investment, because relying on willpower doesn't work. Instead, make it automatic. Set up your bank account to transfer a fixed amount into your emergency fund every payday. Treat it like rent or electricity, non-negotiable. When the money moves before you even see it, you eliminate the temptation to spend it. Over time, this discipline becomes invisible, but the balance in your emergency fund grows like clockwork. Finally, boost your fund with extra income. If you want to build it fast, cutting alone won't be enough. This is where side hustles, freelance gigs, or even selling unused items around your house come in. Every dollar you make outside your main job can be funneled directly into the emergency fund. Think of it as fast tracking your safety net. If you earn $500 from freelancing this month, that's half a month of living expenses saved in one move. And the truth is, you don't need luck to build an emergency fund. You need action. Start small, cut and redirect, automate, and accelerate with extra income. Follow these 4 steps consistently, and by the end of 2026, investment, you won't just have a safety net, you'll have peace of mind. When it comes to building an emergency fund, most people make the mistake of overcomplicating the process. They think they need to save thousands right away. And because that seems impossible, they never even start. But the truth is, the fastest way to build an emergency fund is to begin small, sometimes as small as $5 a day, and focus on consistency rather than perfection. Think of it this way. Investment. The biggest hurdle isn't the amount you save, it's creating the discipline to save in the first place. Once you get started, the momentum naturally builds. Starting small removes the mental barrier that says, I can't afford to save. Almost everyone can afford a few dollars a day, and over time those dollars begin to compound into something meaningful. Imagine you save $5 a day in 2026. That doesn't sound life-changing, but over 1 month, that's about $150. Over a year, it's one's $825, and that's without even increasing the amount. Now imagine you start to add an extra $2,000 here, an extra $3 there. By the end of the year, you could easily cross $2,000 or more. That's already 1 month of basic expenses for many people, and it's enough to cover a car repair, a medical bill, or even rent in a tough month. The point is, starting small means you actually start, and starting means you give your future self some protection against the unexpected. The other key benefit of starting small is psychological. When you see your emergency fund grow, even by just a little, it builds confidence. Investment. Confidence encourages you to keep going, to save more, and to protect that money instead of spending it. It becomes a positive feedback loop. The small step you took on day 1 leads to slightly bigger steps by month 3. And before you know it, you're making sacrifices and choices you never thought you'd commit to. And here's the thing you won't feel deprived. Investment, because you'll have trained yourself to live with slightly less while gaining the peace of mind that comes from having savings. It's also important to remember that in 2026, the financial landscape is uncertain. Prices can spike, and jobs can shift, and emergencies can show up without warning. Starting small, but starting now ensures that you aren't caught completely unprepared. Too many people wait until things get better or until they have extra cash. But the reality is, if you don't begin today, you won't have anything when the emergency actually comes. By saving even a few dollars daily, you're essentially buying yourself insurance against future stress. So don't overthink it. And don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Open a separate account, commit to a small daily or weekly deposit, and treat it as non-negotiable. Your first 100 might feel slow, but it sets the foundation. From there, when your savings habit becomes stronger, your fund grows faster, and your confidence builds. And when life throws its inevitable surprises, investment, you'll be glad you started with something instead of nothing. One of the fastest ways to free up money for an emergency fund is by cutting and redirecting expenses. The reason this works so well is because most of us are spending money in areas we don't even notice. It's not the big expenses like rent or car payments that quietly eat away at our savings potential. It's the small, recurring costs that seem harmless but add up over weeks and months. That's where the opportunity lies. By identifying just 2 or 3 areas where money is slipping away, you can create an instant stream of cash to feed your emergency fund without needing a raise or a second job. Take subscriptions, for example. Many people are signed up for services they rarely use, whether it's a streaming platform, a gym membership, or a premium app. Canceling even 1 or 2 of these can free up $20 to $30 a month. That money, when redirected straight into your emergency fund, becomes a guaranteed savings boost. Over a year, that's $240 to $360, which could cover a car repair or buy groceries in a tough situation. And the best part, you won't even feel the difference because you weren't using those services consistently anyway. Another area is food spending. Grabbing lunch at work or ordering takeout a few times a week might feel convenient, but those costs add up quickly. Imagine you skip just 2 15 meals a week. That's 30 weekly or about 120 a month. Redirected to your emergency fund, that's 140 in a year, simply by eating at home a little more often. Combine that with the subscription cuts, and suddenly you're over 800 closer to your emergency savings goal without making a massive sacrifice. Even everyday habits like coffee runs can be adjusted. If you spend $5 on coffee 5 days a week, that's $100 a month. Cutting that in half and redirecting the other half means you save $50 monthly or $600 annually. It's not about completely depriving yourself. It's about making intentional choices. Keep what matters most to you, but eliminate the spending that doesn't align with your priorities. The key is to redirect, not just cut. Too often, people cancel a subscription or skip takeout, but then that money simply gets absorbed into other spending. That's why redirection is powerful. Every time you cut an expense, transfer that exact amount into your emergency fund. If you cancel a 20 subscription, set up an automatic 20 transfer to your savings account on the same date every month. This ensures the money doesn't disappear. It builds your financial safety net instead. By focusing on just a handful of expenses, you'll notice how quickly your emergency fund grows. It doesn't take massive lifestyle changes, just small intentional ones. And once you see the numbers adding up, the motivation to keep cutting and redirecting becomes stronger. Investment, that's how you accelerate your progress and build financial security faster than you thought possible. Automating your savings is the step that transforms good intentions into actual results. Most people fail to build an emergency fund not because they don't care, but because they rely on willpower. They plan to transfer money when they have extra or when they remember, but life gets in the way. Unexpected expenses pop up. Investment temptations are everywhere, and before they know it, another month has passed with nothing saved. Automation removes that problem completely. By setting up your emergency fund to receive money automatically, investment, you make saving effortless and consistent regardless of what's happening in your life. Think of your emergency fund like any other bill: rent, electricity, or internet. You pay those because you have no choice and you budget around them. Treating your savings the same way ensures that you prioritize it instead of leaving it for whatever is left over. If you set up your bank account to move even a small amount every payday, you're making savings a non-negotiable part of your financial life. For example, if you get paid twice a month, you could automate $50 per paycheck into your emergency account. That's $100 monthly or $200 by the end of the year. Investment without having to think about it once. The power of automation lies in its consistency. You don't have to remember, you don't have to motivate yourself, and you don't have to resist temptation. It just happens. Over time, you barely notice the money leaving, but you absolutely notice the balance growing. And here's something even more effective. Set up your emergency fund in a separate savings account, preferably one that's not connected to your everyday debit card. Out of sight, out of mind. When the money is less accessible, you're less likely to dip into it for non-emergencies. Another advantage of automation is that it allows you to increase contributions seamlessly. Maybe you start with $25 a week. After a few months, you get a raise or cut an expense, so you bump it to $35 a week. And that extra 10 won't disrupt your lifestyle, but it accelerates your savings. By layering these small adjustments, your emergency fund grows faster than you realize. The discipline of automation also builds financial confidence. Each month you see the account balance increase, and that creates motivation. It shifts your mindset from saving is hard to this is working. Once you build momentum, you're more likely to find creative ways to add even more to your fund because the progress feels rewarding. Ultimately, automation is about protecting yourself from yourself. It eliminates the friction of decision making and the risk of procrastination. By making savings a built-in part of your financial system, you guarantee progress. Even if the amount is small, it's consistent, and consistency is what transforms an empty account into a solid emergency cushion. If you want to build an emergency fund quickly, cutting costs alone will only take you so far. The real accelerator is finding ways to boost your income and funneling that extra money straight into savings. Think of it like this: cutting expenses is defense, but earning more is offense. You need both to win. By adding extra income streams in 2026, you can fast track your emergency fund from a few $100s to several thousand in a fraction of the time. One of the easiest ways to start is by taking advantage of the gig economy. Everything makes a good investment. There are endless opportunities today: delivering food, driving rideshare, freelancing, online tutoring, or even offering simple services like pet sitting. The beauty of side hustles is flexibility. You don't have to commit full time. Even 5 to 10 extra hours a week could earn you $200 to $500. If you commit that entire amount to your emergency fund, you'll have an extra $400 to $60 now by year's end. Man, that's the difference between struggling during an emergency and having the confidence that you're financially secure. Another overlooked strategy is selling unused items. Most people have hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars sitting in closets, garages, or storage rooms in the form of clothes, electronics, tools, or furniture they don't use. By listing these items on online marketplaces, you can quickly generate cash. It may not seem like much, but 300 here and 500 there adds up fast. The key is discipline. Resist the urge to spend that money and instead redirect every dollar into your emergency fund. If you already have a skill, monetizing it can be a game changer. Writing, graphic design, coding, photography, or even handyman work can be turned into freelance opportunities. In 2026, online platforms make it easier than ever to connect with clients worldwide. Imagine earning just a 100 extra a week from freelancing. That's over $5,000 a year. And if you treat that income as untouchable for anything other than your emergency fund, your financial safety net will grow at lightning speed. You can also look at opportunities within your main job. Ask about overtime, performance bonuses, or ways to take on extra responsibilities that pay more. Many employers reward initiative, and even a small bump in your paycheck investment redirected to savings creates momentum. The mindset shift here is critical. Every extra dollar you earn isn't just money, it's speed. It brings you closer to the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're prepared for whatever life throws at you. Emergencies are unpredictable, but your preparation doesn't have to be. By boosting your income and committing that money to savings, you put yourself in control. Ultimately, building an emergency fund fast isn't just about spending less, it's about earning more and being intentional with that money. Combine extra income with the discipline of redirection and automation, and you'll be shocked at how quickly your emergency fund grows. That's how you create real financial security in 2026.